Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We're at 194 episodes, and we're going to talk about Aquaman #1. Yes, he's back, baby. And we have Magik #1. Let's talk about him right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about some really good stuff. My buddy Jeremy Adams is now releasing Aquaman. Aquaman is my favorite character. I haven't seen him in comics other than guest appearances for some time now. And this is my prized possession here. This is by several writers, but this is the heyday of Aquaman right here. They've kind of took the movie a little bit from this with actually in this book they actually kill the son though, which breaks him and Mera apart for a little bit. But this is by Paul Levitz. Some really, really good stuff in here. Black Manta, Aqualad, all this stuff. It really, like, this is like the golden age of Aquaman. Of course, he also dropped off after a little bit here. You know, he hasn't never been really a popular character. When Jeff Johns brought him back in Rebirth, I think that really elevated him. Jeff Johns did an amazing job. Everybody likes the Peter David stuff. I was not a fan of the beard and the hook. So when they brought him back in Rebirth and they put the hand back on and he looked like he did originally, then, you know, we had Damn Ned on there. He did a really, really good job, too. I got this from Ollie's, actually. But anyway, he did a great job, and the artwork in here was really, really good. So, and now to see Aquaman back, I'd like him. Where is even Aquaman in here? Yeah, Lane, look at that. And there's Mera. So, you know, and I want Mera back in her old costume. We're going to talk about the costume here in a second. I've seen her with the sleeves, without the sleeves. And in one of the covers here, they have her with kind of just like an arm sleeve without the shoulders. I'm okay with that too. In fact, you can see behind me, this is this. I've had these forever. Oh, let me go. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is the Mera statue that goes with the Aquaman, and the feet kind of just barely fit in there, and I always have to mess with them. So yeah, so if it comes out of the thing, it doesn't go back in right. So I'll just put her on the floor right now. And then here is the classic Aquaman. These always travel around with me no matter where I go, as far as whatever new home I go to. Although I got to say, thank God I moved out of L.A. I feel for all of the people that have lost everything in the fires. I can't even imagine having my house go on fire and losing just everything. I do have some stuff in storage, but everything I have would be gone. Everything I moved here with was in a little pod, so I don't have that much to begin with. But and then this is the Mera, which I thought matched the costume of the comic pretty close. But there's the Mera from the movie with Amber Heard, which I know everybody hates Amber Heard, but I thought she looked pretty comic accurate, and this was, you know, definitely better than Snyder did with the costume. I hated the costume in Justice League. I didn't think it matched at all. And there's too many colors on here, doesn't work. And then they're putting boots on her. Because originally she had fins. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but the original original Mera didn't have feet. She had fins. I wonder if I can find a quick picture. Yeah, right here. She had flippers. See? But so naturally, they didn't have boots for her because she didn't really have feet. And then when they finally gave her feet, they just had her in this big, long one-piece thing, which I was fine with. But naturally, for the movie, they wanted to put her in boots because it was, they didn't want to look at her having one piece, and I was fine with that. Plus, they gave her, heels so that she was taller and all that stuff. Anyway, I could talk about Aquaman, forever. But let's get into the actual comic. So this takes place after Absolute Power. So we have this, and I hated Absolute Power. I dropped it after like one issue because I thought the idea was just stupid. You can't have a bunch of robots just switching people's powers around and taking them. It just didn't make any sense. So we had Lois right now who has Zod's powers. And now with Aquaman, he actually took Mera's powers. So I hope that this is short term. Because I really can't think about why Mera would have no powers. That was always what differentiated them. He had the super strength, he had the talk to fish thing, and she had the aquakinesis, and so did Garth, really, and then they created the other guy. But yeah, but Garth had other things as well. He was a little bit different. So the artwork in here is pretty decent. We start out with the lighthouse, and he talks about his time in Atlantis and his the fact that he's a husband and a father. So everybody talks about the power couple of DC being Lois and Clark, and I disagree. I think the power couple of the DC universe is Mera and Aquaman, Mera and Arthur, because the thick or thin, they stick together. They both have superpowers and of different types, and each one of them is a force to be reckoned with by themselves. Not that Lois isn't on a psychological side, but on a physical side, these two guys would wreak havoc on any villain, and often do. So we got this really cool artwork, and he said, oh, he's a god killer, but then we go back in time. But the artwork here is simply amazing, and it's good to see Aquaman being and looking like a hero. And here's where, again, it kind of goes off the beaten path a little bit as far as I'm concerned, with Aquaman having different powers than I'm used to. And so here we have a crashing plane, and Aquaman zooming up through the surface of the water, where he's actually being seen by the people in the plane. And the captain is saying, the first mate is saying, "What do we do, Captain? We're gonna have to get the survivors." Blah blah. And he's like, "Nope, stop. Just stop all engines. Just wait," because he saw Aquaman come up, and I assume that he has either seen him in action or knows him personally, because it looks like they patrol these waters quite often. And he said, "Just stop. We'll just wait." He says, "I'm no longer worried about the plane crashing." So, and I think that was pretty cool. So we have him land on the plane, and he is now going to use Mera's powers, and it looks like Mera is trying to train him to use her powers. So it's kind of like what we were doing with Lois and Superman, where Superman was training her to use his power, his like powers, because he actually had his own powers. And, because she's from a whole different, kingdom. So I don't know if you knew that or not. Mera was originally brought over, I don't know if it was on a side dimension. It was some kind of a portal that I think is Zabeth or something like that, where she was ordered to kill him. So she was there to assassinate him. And instead she fell in love with him, and then they started this whole thing together. That was the original storyline. But anyway, he's like, so the first mate's like, "Should we back up? Should we, change course? Fakes of action." He's like, just hold it. And the plane, stops right in front of their tugboat. It's pretty cool. So then we have the fish are all coming to help the plane. So he still has his own powers as well. And I like how they depict Atlantis here. But anyway, there's the baby and the whole bit. At least he put him back to being king, because in the last thing, she was queen, and then they disbanded all the monarchy because the person writing it had to do something that was, PC. Well, we're disbanding the monarchy, and now we're going to have a senate. So at least Jeremy put that back. Thank God for that. So then we have a kaiju, a water-based kaiju that is attacking Daytona Beach. Pretty funny. But we have, I'm not sure if Tula's in here. But anyway, we have Garth finds this big pearl, and they're saying there's something magical about it, but then he goes to fight. He's bored being king. That's the way it's always been. He's an adrenaline junkie. He doesn't like just sitting there on a throne. He gets bored. So that was the only thing that Momoa actually was able to portray. Otherwise, Momoa was a really awful pick for Aquaman. That's why I don't own a Momoa thing. He does not look like or act like Aquaman. So anyway, he cannot fight this thing. So he gets thrown through the wall. And this poor couple is like, anything we can do for you? He's like, stand aside, sir. And, Aquaman, Arthur is hoity. He does act above it all sometimes. Not to the point of Namor. Namor is like the worst. But he was bred to be a king. So he is a little uppity sometimes. Of course, he was grown up like Superman. He did grow up, as a human. But yeah, so once in a while he does get kind of uppity. But anyway, when he gets back, because he hears Mera's voice, when he gets back, he finds, now it doesn't look like it looks like it's destroyed, right? But everybody else says that it's gone, and this makes sense for later. And that pearl is still hanging around, which then he grabs it and he goes to the Justice League Tower because he doesn't know where to turn at this point since all those people are gone. And he says, "Where's Batman?" "Well, he's in the back." "Well, what?" And he just walks right past him. And that's more, what Arthur does. He won't stop for pleasantries, that's for sure. So we have Zatanna trying to figure out what it is. And Wonder Woman and Batman are trying to figure out or help him. Of course, Wonder Woman's being empathetic, saying, "Oh, I can't imagine, how you're feeling right now," and all that stuff. And meanwhile, Zatanna's like, "Yeah, this thing's powerful. I can't even tell you what the hell it is, but it's just exuding magic." So they go underwater, and he's like, "It's telling me to toss it," and it does, and it creates this thing. And he goes through it because he wants to follow Mera, which is something that he would definitely do. And we find out that it's an Omega thing, which is Darkseid. So, and when he even says, "We're back, baby." And I know I talked about all this way too long, but I love it. I love it. I love everything about it except for a few things. Of course, Mera's costume is mirroring more of the Justice League stuff. I prefer just a total green one. Make it very basic. I don't need all that extra stuff on her costume. Shave the damn beard on Aquaman. Bring him back to the way he was, the square-jawed guy. And I'm hoping that this thing with all of the powers is just temporary. That Lois loses her powers eventually, which I can't imagine that as being any other way. We have just to go back to a status quo where everything was where it started, years ago when we were doing Rebirth. Rebirth was a perfect start for everything. It was basically a back to the original state, which is where I prefer this had started from. But I'm okay with him having powers or learning her powers as long as it goes back to the way it was. But I don't think I would be disappointed if he retained the aquakinesis thing. If you want to come up with something different for him, where it goes back to her, but he has some kind of a residual where it's something a little bit different, where it's not aquakinesis, we get think out of the box a little bit, I'd be okay with that. Giving him something extra. All right, so let's jump into Magik. So I love Magik. I think she's a great character. She has a very unique look. I love the horns on her and stuff like that, which is the only reason I really watch the New Mutants, the movie that was done as a horror movie, was because Anya Taylor-Joy, I thought, did a really, really good job as Magik with the limited amount of stuff that she had. I don't know why they didn't give her the crown. They could have literally made it horns like grow out of her head, and it still would have worked. But that's like an iconic thing for her, and I can't understand why the filmmakers didn't do it. Because at the end, she has the metal arm, she has the sword, everything. She looks great, and they didn't give her the horns, or the crown. So I do not understand why that is. But the crown gives her a very unique and stylistic thing. So I think for the movie, I think that was a complete mistake. So we start out with, them talking, or her talking about, her life in limbo. But before that, we have this mutant, and you can tell she's a mutant because look at her hands. She's like Creature from the Black Lagoon hands, webbed fingers, and she gets taken into some kind of a portal. And this other little girl, I guess, who was friends with her, is like Moni or Mani. I don't know how you say it, Moni or Mani. But anyway, here's where she's like in some kind of a dream state or whatever else, where she's like, I just want to be happy with my brother and stuff like that. And even Colossus is like, this ain't real. And she's like, hey, it's my fantasy, let it go. But then we have Darkchild bring her into limbo. And I guess Darkchild is still talking to her in her head continuously. But anyway, she wakes up and it's her birthday. And she gets into full battle garb because I think she wants to spend some time alone. And of course, everybody says, surprise, surprise! And I still cannot abide Juggernaut being a good guy. It just does not work, man. And he's like, look, I have a candle for you on this cupcake. Why don't you blow it out? See, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for him, man. He is a villain. Let it go. We do not have to have every villain turn into a good guy and join a team. But anyway, she's like, yeah, I'm not wearing that. There's a thing I got to do, and she just leaves. So then we have this funeral or whatever else, because I guess they're giving a funeral for the girl that disappeared. They were just assuming that she's dead. I thought that was kind of weird. But that was the only part that I thought was weird. But anyway, so she shows up while, they're going, mutie, 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 and the whole bit. And she's like, you need to hold your tongue there, bro, or I'll pull it out of you. And then she's like, oh, she's a demon. She's like, no, I'm not a demon, but they are. So the demons are just coming out of everywhere. She pulls her sword out of limbo and just starts hacking, slashing. So yeah, those things don't stand a bit of a chance. So anyway, good stuff. She basically saves the whole town, and of course the people are still like, "You brought them here. You're the baddie, you beauty." And she takes them, her and the other little girl, which I think the girl dies here. I don't know. I don't understand. I thought she brought her through the portal to save her, but she's not with her again after this. Then she's like, I think she's standing there in the background, isn't she? But anyway, they find a little boy there, and the little boy is just like, I'm evil, and it turns into this guy with the cowboy hat and I don't know, chicken feet. I don't understand. Chicken butt. I don't know, man. I thought of everything, that's kind of weird, where we had chicken feet on the guy. I don't know. So anyway, he's going to shoot her, and he does. I guess he's stuck in some kind of a magic prison that has like wards on it or whatever, and he continually, I don't know, I didn't realize she could take physical damage like that, but I guess she gets shot a bunch of times. I don't know what kind of bullet it is, but she takes it, basically does wound her. But I guess she heals. I don't really know her powers well enough to know that she could take those kind of bullets. But anyway, the grandmother to the guy that was at the funeral, she ends up being a magic person, and she keeps saying that Magik is, in trouble, and she's got to be there to help, and she can't be breaking the seals, and blah blah blah. And this dude's just looking to get out. Oh, there's the girl. Oh, this is where she dies. He grabs her head. I guess he breaks her head. I don't know, because there's all blood leaking down. That's where she died. And she's like, "Oh my God, you killed my people that I was supposed to be saving." And I like all the purple and all that. I think the coloring on it is pretty good. When she's getting weaker, and the old lady's saying that she's getting weaker, and she's like, "Go grab the stuff out of my purse, where I'm just, carrying around stuff that's magical, etc." And the action in here is really good, I thought, because I don't know this writer, so I was unaware of whether this was going to be good or bad. So because it was Magik, I was just like I tried Storm out, but Storm was really bad. And I think this is actually pretty decent. I like the look and feel of it. I like the action in it. I think everything really works here. And she chops his hands off with the gun too. I like that they keep pushing the envelope with it, where she is not like a regular X-Men, where it's like preserves life because she grew up basically in hell. But the whole thing is that he's trying to get out of the seal, and now she's stuck in there. But good stuff. And then I guess the grandmother dies, and he picks up the book, and I guess he's going to be taking over for where she let off. And I guess they're going to have to fight the big baddie together. Well, meanwhile, the Dark Child is talking to her in her head, and then we have the J. Scott Campbell. Why is Ryan North writing Doom? Because he's writing Fantastic Four? I'm not getting Fantastic Four because Ryan North is buying that or writing that. Why would I buy the Doom #1? I guess I'll buy #1, but that's about the extent of that. Ryan North, really? But anyway, let's do a recap. We'll just make a good film or television show. I would love to see Anya Taylor-Joy reprise her role as Magik. That would be great if they could do it more comic accurate. That could be good. And now she's a star where she wasn't before. I'm all in for that. And she can do action because we saw it in Furiosa. I'm all in for that. And Aquaman, let's get Aquaman more comic accurate in the movies, but of course I don't think he's slated to be, just like Wonder Woman isn't slated to be in the movies anytime soon, so we're not going to see Aquaman in a movie for a long time, I think. Even though, of all the DC characters in DC movies, I think he's made more money than any of the others. And I would be happy to have Alan Ritchson come back, because he played Aquaman in Smallville, and I think he matches the character really, really well. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to jump in on the Green Hornet anthology done by Timothy Zahn and Kevin J. Anderson, Bill Willingham, with cover by Matt Wagner of Batman and Grendel. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to be launching that really just in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks. We have over 200 followers on the Kickstarter page. Go to greenhornetnoir.com and get signed up now, because it's probably going to do pretty well. I mean, we literally got like 100 or pretty close to 100 people in like 2 days. So it's going to be good. So jump in there right now. There's also a link in the description below as well. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can subscribe, please do. I'm trying to grow the channel out, and it's free. Why not? Ring that bell, ding, ding. All right, I'll see you guys on the next episode. I know this was a long one because of the whole Aquaman me chatting away. All right, talk to you later, guys. All right, have a good week. Bye-bye.